Hello, I'm Michael Boyajian, and I just want to talk about a new book that's going to be coming out in early January 2023, first book of 2023. And it's a Mike and Jeri book, but a little different. It's more of both of us equally, and on parallel courses before we met, and then on for the most part, a direct course after we met. And again, the title is The Grandeur of the Millennial Illuminators. I know that's a convoluted title, but well, I'm part of the population, and Jeri was too, that crossed from one millennial to the other. We went from the 1990s into the 2000s, and made it. It was expected to be all the clocks stopping and computers shutting down, but none of that happened. Crazy things did happen, and they're happened recently, and it appears that all the mayhem is beginning to simmer down, and we're getting back on the rails again. But beside that, the book is focuses on our younger days, and where we the one common denominator we have, or we had a few, environmentalism and no nukes and political stuff, but we were also very involved with the gay community, LGBTQ community, and that is the core of what the book revolves around, and most of our youth is a spoke out of that wheel. And it goes right from, like, when I was in high school, we used to hang out with LGBT musicians and follow their bands around to church dances and school dances and stuff. And then we used to hang out with Jeri's LGBTQ work colleagues at the Met, and we had one dinner with her friend Hoyt, which made Harry, when Harry met Sally, the conversation going on in the deli looked like nothing compared to our conversation. The same with my dinner with Andre. It made both of those movies conversation scenes look pretty boring. We were all, me, Jeri, Hoyt, and his partner were all in a Chinese restaurant, and we were very boisterous. And the whole place was looking at us, not with anger, but just with like happiness, to see some happy people there. Unfortunately, Hoyt contracted the gay plague, AIDS, and he's no longer with us. He was a terrific guy, and just to tell you how much Jeri liked him, every day after work, on her way home, she stopped at the hospital where he was being treated, and until he passed away, every day she went and talked to him on the way home. Many of my political friends in Brooklyn were from the LGBT community, and one point I was a monitor of the Republican LGBTQ group, the Log Cabins Republicans. They were having an election, and I mean, they packed the hall. It must have been a couple thousand people in there, but of course, I got hooked up with the Marriage Equality New York people, terrific people. I spent 10 years helping them. And they had been doing it for 20. And then my friend Sal, my political ally in Brooklyn, helped me with a book idea that the community wanted done, which was on the bars. And a lot of people say, oh, the bars, they're just drunks, the LGBTQ bars. And no, they were not drinking in there like maniacs. They were sanctuaries where they went to be safe, where they went to be with one another, to network, it was a sanctuary and everything that goes with a sanctuary. I could go through a long laundry list here, but I won't. So, yes, there were people in the streets, like the marriage equality people, but there were also people in the bars. And you know what? You're in the bars, and why not have fun while you're in there? For instance, there's one of the magnetic leaders of the gay community is this fellow on Fire Island, Johnny Poole. And if you just talk to him or look at a picture of him or zooming with him, you know this guy's amazing. He is so dynamic. He got sick a couple years ago, but he recovered. But he went from being a pool boy in Fire Island to being like one of the superstars of the gay rights movement. In the bar area of that, and it's kind of sad because. You were not allowed to serve at one time, and that's not too long ago. You were not allowed to serve alcohol to any gay people. They were not allowed to talk to one another in a gay bar. Hence, there were these long mirrors behind the bar, and they had to talk to the mirror. Very dystopian, very Kafkaesque, isn't it? And it's 20, 30 years ago in America. And, a group, 2 or 3 gays would be talking on a corner. Fire truck would pull up. They jump off, beat the hell out of him, and go and get back on the truck and leave. Now it's kind of changed, and the good news is, as of this point, I can say that because of the fact that the marriage equality bill passed the Senate, the House with a pretty good amount of Republican support, and is going to signature to the President Biden. So it's enshrined in law now. It can't be messed around with by the courts or any retro people. It's astonishing that it came to that because everyone thought we were all on the same page with 70 to 80% approval for marriage equality. And the big factor was everyone coming out. That's when everyone said, well, my Uncle Joey's is LGBTQ. My Aunt Margie's LGBTQ. And they're not bad people. They're not trying to undermine our society. And that's what did it. That's how it moved so rapidly. In 20 years, they went from zero to, creating marriage equality as a right. And they almost were being threatened with it, but the firewall held. And with it, other laws and rights, too, besides LGBTQ rights, all based on the same premises. But anyhow, what happened was, the Pride book we did, those were the old days where I told you about how I had talking to mirrors and firemen. Now it's the good days, where the fire department, the fire commissioner, all marching in the New York City Pride Parade every year, arm in arm, no problems. Bars, walk into any bar. You don't have to go through a side door. You don't have to talk into a mirror. And that's what we did with the front cover. We had this famous photograph of a thing called the sip-in, kind of like a 60s sit-in. They did a sip-in where they went into a bar, a large group of the community, and demanded a drink. And so there's this famous picture with a row of people at the bar demanding a drink, and one bartender has his hand over the top of an empty glass and saying, I cannot serve you or I will not serve you, So it's black and white, famous picture. That's the front cover. On the back cover, we got a picture of everybody, all the same people, all in the same places, and the same bartender, and everyone is smiling because his hand isn't over the glass anymore, and everyone's happy. And anyhow, that's the world. That's where Jeri and I, in our younger days, went from point A, following around high school bands, predominantly LGBTQ, and going into the breaches for the marriage equality movement, and then at this point, because of my friend Sal, we've done 3 or 4 Pride books now, and this is going to be another one. It's not directly Pride, but it's just kind of blends into it, the straight allies that Jeri and I were just blending in with the community, and who knows how many more books that'll follow. I know Sal came up with the idea of bundling a bunch of the books, and we did that, and we got a 500-page opus. It's not directly about marriage equality. It's a lot about the Catskills, the Hudson Valley, and things like that. But again, it's bundled as a huge opus on what is turning out to be the huge LGBTQ enclave. It's no longer New York City and Fire Island and P-Town. It's turning out to be the Catskills, which is a huge geographical area. And, the businesses and people in that large Catskill region are opening their arms to the LGBT community to come on and have some fun. And anyhow, that's the book, and I hope you enjoy it. Sorry to take up so much time on this one. This is a pretty long tape. Bye-bye.